بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. سلام عرض میکنم خدمت بینندگان گرامی. ببخشید بابت تأخیر خیلی زیادی که پیش اومد به دلیل مشکل فنی که داشتیم در ارتباط با مهمانان این نشست، آقای دکتر سید جلال میرنظامی از پستاک در دانشگاه اوزنابروک آلمان و آقای دکتر جواد الخراز مدیر مؤسسه SPRI در قاهره مصر به عنوان یک مؤسسه جهان عرب در حوزه آب. از اینجا به بعد جلسه رو به زبان انگلیسی برگزار می‌کنیم. Hello to the participants and the audience of this session. First, I apologize of this huge delay. That was a technical issue, and now we should proceed without the video of the participants, unfortunately, but just not to miss the whole session. The topic of this session is about the water desalination and the experiences of Dr. Jauad al-Kharraz, based now in Cairo. And to discuss this topic in the context of water management, I pass the floor to Dr. Sayyid Jalal Mirnezami, the host of this session from Osnabrück University in Germany. Hello, Jalal. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Majmuddin. Hi. Really sorry for having you here to discuss a very important topic. I'm also really delighted to have with us Dr. Jauad al-Kharraz. Look forward to have a presentation about water desalination. I'm just going very briefly to some highlights of his career. He's graduated in Earth Sciences from the University of Valencia in Spain, and he's the co-founder and Secretary General of Arab World Association of Young Scientists, and is the R&D Director at the Middle East Desalination Research Center. And at the moment, he's now
ضبط میشه؟
Jalal.
ضبط هم نمیشه.
The floor is yours, Dr. Jauad. We're very pleased to have your presentation.
Thank you very much.
هیچی.
Happy to be with you today online. I would love it to be in Tehran, but this time it wasn't possible. It's a new job as mentioned by Dr. Jalal. So I'm now based in Cairo since 2 weeks ago. I will go directly to the subject. So I'm going to talk about water desalination in the context of water management. Is desalination a solution to alleviate water scarcity? So I'm going to talk about it in this presentation. Yes. Do you hear me?
Yes, yes. I hear you.
Yeah, I hope that if you don't see my slides, hopefully the organizer will share with all the audience my slides, so with no issue. As you know, 2/3 of the world face water scarcity, and in particular in North Africa, Middle East, including Iran. So we have really an acute water scarcity because of the climate change impact, because of the increasing demand of the population growth, the economic growth, and all of these factors made that water became really scarce in our region. When we look at some facts, for example, in this map, I show water stress by country. I can see, say, for example, that 12 from 17 countries in the Middle East and North Africa are considered the most water-stressed countries in the world. And for example, we have a figure from the World Bank saying that from 6 to 14% projected GDP loss due to climate-related water scarcity by 2050. So this is huge. And also I can mention that 80% amount of wastewater collected that is treated to safe levels in the Gulf countries. So, I mean, we have a huge water scarcity issue in the region, and obviously we need to find solutions. In terms of water scarcity, so we talk about a balance between water supply and water demand. So how can we find a balance between the increase in demand and the water supply? So we know that we have no renewable resources like groundwater, and in almost all the region we are tapping on this resource, and so obviously there is a risk to replenish our aquifers. So we need to find solutions for that. In general, in a simple way, when it comes to water scarcity, the first question that comes to the mind is there water? Which means, is water available? The first thing is accessibility. Can I bring this water to my field, to my house, to my farm, to my use? The third question would be the cost, because sometimes the water is there and they cannot afford to pay for it. So the question of cost is very important. And the other question is the quality, obviously. So the quality means that it depends on the use. If it is for drinking, there is a certain quality that I need to respect. If it's for agriculture or cooling, for example,
power plant, etc. So it depends also on the use. We need to care about the quality. What we can do to solve the problem as action. So in simple way, we need to increase the supply. Desalination is one option among other options. We need to conserve the quality of water so we can still use it. Increase the water use efficiency and productivity. In our region, including Iran, almost 70 to 80% of water resources are used for agriculture. And then when we look at the efficiency, we see that we are talking about 30–40% maximum. So this is very low efficiency. So a lot of water is lost in agriculture. A lot of water also is lost in what we call no revenue water. It means in water distribution network. So we need to deal with those kind of problems. So in order to face water scarcity. And the last one is we need to review the demand management, because traditionally we use it to face water scarcity challenge by trying to find the new waters by increasing the supply. We don't care about the demand. The demand is important because we can do an effort to manage or to reduce considerably the demand in agriculture, in the different sectors, by improving the efficiency, by also selecting the right policy, for example, in pricing policy. In the Gulf countries, for example, the water is cheap. What the result of this is that we have the highest consumption per capita in the world. People are consuming a lot of water because they don't care about it, because simply it's very cheap. So he doesn't care about the bill. But now the policies in the region are changing, and they need to change, because otherwise we cannot really face water scarcity. In general terms, when we have a water scarcity situation or a drought situation, the main measures that we take are the following in slide, but you will have it inshallah. So in the supply side management, we have solutions like water transfers. Early this morning, I was talking with some of your colleagues in Iran about a possible desalination plant in the coast of Iran, but with a water transfer from the coast to like 1,000 kilometers. So water transfer, it could be a solution for some cases, not necessarily for long transfer, because this is really very costly. We have desalination. We have reusing treated water. We can also have, as a solution, aquifer recharge. Sometimes we have seawater intrusion, so we have a problem, of salinization of our groundwater. So we need to sometimes to desalinate water and recharge aquifers because they are overexploited. We have other kind of solutions like new storage facilities, use of groundwater, etc. And the demand side, we can talk about water metering, about restriction on municipal use when we are really in a shortage situation. The water market or tariffs are very important. Again, the pricing policies are important. The awareness campaign also, we need to do awareness in school, in the media, so people can be aware of the consumption and they can save water. We can do a lot of things also in the demand. So the economics of water scarcity, there are a number of options for communities and businesses facing water scarcity. On the demand side, we talk about conservation. So promoted by publicity campaign or with price incentives like higher tariffs, For example, if you have that amount of water, the tariff will jump considerably. So you will be careful next time to not jump and then pay a lot. Your bill will be much more expensive. Improved water efficiency, so that's imply or involve investment in water-saving technologies. Now we have remote sensing of things and a lot of technology that could help us to really increase the crops production by drop of water, by also using the modern irrigation systems and etc. At the supply side, we have a greater groundwater usage. For example, this is usually the lowest cost solution on the demand side, but obviously we have this risk of over exploitation that we need to take into consideration. Also, we can also have long distance transfer through pipelines that have been used since the Roman times. Availability, exploration, also for example, in Iran, even during the Persian civilization, thousands of years ago, we had what we call qanats or qanawats. So to bring water from from the mountain, my farm. So these traditional ways to manage water need to be still considered. Water reuse is important because a lot of wastewater in expensive way and could be used in agriculture or at least to irrigate. Then we have sewers, urban for cities, application coastal region in particular, and brackish water desalination also, because it's necessarily in areas where we have seawater intrusion, where we have water quality problems. So brackish water desalination is a solution. So the choice determined by the economics alone, in general, always most cost effective than supply side solution. But the politics of water is such that most cities seek a balance between the supply and the demand. Within supply side solution, the choice is often determined by hydrology, practicality, security, environmental impact, obviously also the price. It means that the market for desalination and reuse are relatively price inelastic. So when we have really a situation of water scarcity, water shortage, we need to find solutions able to get us a huge amount of water from a limited resource, which is seawater, and it could be really a solution. But obviously I will talk about there are issues about the cost, environmental impact, etc. Desalination technologies, we are probably, or most of you know, we have different kind of technologies. We have technology that, let's say, heat power, both energy forms power, which means that we have some technologies that are considered heat-driven processes, like thermal desalination, effect evaporation, MSF, dehumidification, and we have the power-driven processes like reverse osmosis, the most now known in the world now, and electrodialysis, forward osmosis, etc. If we look at the world, in this map I show the concentration of desal plants worldwide. I can tell you that we have almost 20,000 desal plants right now in the world, almost more than 100 million cubic meters per day. And we are consuming more than 200 million kilowatt hours every day. So huge consumption of electricity. But obviously, if we compare this desalination figures 20 years ago with now, there is no there's no comparison, because the cost has considerably decreased. We are talking now about $0.3 per cubic meter in one recent plant in Dubai, Hassian seawater RO plant. So we are talking about $0.3 per cubic meter, which is really very low. So in Iran, we have many desalination plants. This map is taken from the Global Water Intelligence desal data website. So you can see all desal plants worldwide. It can give you the information about every desalination plant, the capacity, the technology, etc., etc. If we look at the worldwide picture, again from the Global Water Intelligence database, we can see that in the last years and in upcoming years, seawater RO and brackish water desalination plants will increase, and thermal desalination almost will disappear, because in the markets, it seems that seawater RO and brackish water RO is is probably the most efficient, most cost-effective compared with thermal desalination plant. In the past, thermal desalination technology were interesting because we had sort of, how to say, we use it to build the power plant. So it was, benefit, this gets powered by the power plants, and the cooling water was also easily taken by the power plant. But now RO, it seems that is most cost effective worldwide. If we look at the in terms of production of desalinated water, and it's projected to increase further in the upcoming years. In Iran, closer to 1 million cubic meters per day, and probably we will need more plants in Iran in the upcoming years. It's RO is flexible. It doesn't have to be integrated power plant, as I said right now. It's slightly more environment friendly. So we have important vis-a-vis the Paris Agreement. Iran and all the countries of the world are committed to Paris Agreement. We need to reduce the CO2 footprint, and RO is producing less CO2 than. And as I said, this is most important because we are getting to more competitive prices. And in this map, I'm showing some of the, particularly Saudi Arabia and UAE, we are having with 1 million cubic meters per day of production. So some advantages, disadvantages of RO, probably you are aware of it. So I'm not going to get into more detail. I already explained the slide, advantage of RO system. A typical RO system, we're talking about pre-treatment. We need to do pre-treatment of the feed water. Then we need a high pressure pump to push this water to the membranes. And then we have treatments to adjust the quality of the water according to our use. So if we look at the whole picture, so we have intake system. We have intake system into the sea. We have drum screens and other kind of screens in order to filter this water into the push the water into pre-treatment system. We have high pressure pumps to push the feed water to membranes, and then we produce the feed, the drink or the product, and also we produce the brine. We need to deal with it, and the post-treatment is about how we can adjust the quality of this water use. Is this a solution to ensure water security or to face scarcity? Probably yes, but it's not the only solution. Or we need to look at the whole picture. That's why we talk about integrated, which means that we need to pool of solutions together. The solution is a critical component of the solution. If we look at the national water policy in AI and all the countries, we conventional water resources, which are in basically desalination and treated and the desalination solutions have some problems, like it's still costly, energy intensive. We have environmental degradation, environmental impacts, and we to powering desalination plant. So we need to make it more sustainable. So hopefully we can encourage more, using the renewable energies to power desalination plant. We have to, and we have also solutions to the disposal with wastewater, and to decrease the high concentration of chemicals, and so to be less harmful to the marine ecosystem, for example. So I'm going to go directly to the energy consumption. RO is better now because we are talking about now almost 3 kilowatt hour per cubic meter, and we are really around 1.3 kilowatt hour per cubic meter. So this is very interesting. The brine disposal is the biggest issue, as I say, or membrane desalination technologies. We are having this problem. So we need to improve the recovery of the system, and we need to find solutions for the brine, either by valorizing the brine. We extract, minerals from the brine. There are some in the from the brine. There are some other who are developing some research where we can see some microalgae where they can survive with such salinity, and this microalgae, we can compost it, harvest it, and then we can have some fertilizers or some beauty product like spirulina, etc., etc. We have also the typical solution, which is evaporation pond for some brackish desalination units, where we pump the brine into the evaporation ponds and we wait that it gets evaporated, the liquid, and then the concentrated salt and minerals could be recycled somehow. So I'm showing in some slide the way we dispose the brine into the sea. How we should do it. We need to be careful to cause the less harm to the marine ecosystem. I'm sorry because I'm going a little bit faster now because I have another meeting and I couldn't really delay it. So you will have the slides, and I will be happy also to respond to questions. You will have email as well. I will go directly to, there are some other also ways to reduce the impact of RO desalination plant, which is also, we need to find solutions for the membranes, because the membranes have a life cycle of 5-8 years, depending on the different parameters like the feed water, depending on the many other factors. So we, instead of disposing them in the landfill, we can recycle them, reusing them for some application. Actually, myself, I work in a project where we are proposing some other uses for the end of life RO membranes. In terms of greenhouse, as I mentioned before, RO is still less than thermal desalination in terms of CO2 footprint. We're talking about 1.5 to 3.6 kilogram CO2 produced per cubic meter, which is still less than thermal desalination. For example, in the case of MSF, we're talking about 10 to 20 kilograms CO2 per cubic meter. In terms of how desalination will be projected in the future, still there is margin to improve in terms of the cost, because we can still improve the membranes, we can still improve the energy recovery devices, we can still try to reduce the cost in construction, in many other areas of the desalination processes. And already I showed you the trend of the technology, so we are going to have more and more desalination based on membrane technology rather than thermal technologies. The cost of desalination is the electrical energy, more than 50% almost. Then we have 14% of the chemical that we use in the pre-treatment or the post-treatment. We have the labor, we have the membrane, 6%, etc. We have also a lot of top technology disappointment. Sometimes we hear about, oh, graphene membranes will a magic solution be perfect. No, it's not yet in the industry, in the lab, in the research. We can still publish it in Nature, but to get into the industry, it needs a couple of years. It needs a market uptake. It needs to convince. It needs to fight with the current technology, which is RO. So I think a lot of illusions we can make, but I to sell getting the upscaling the technology to industry and demonstrate it is cost effective, it is useful. And now renewable desalination, we have a lot of possibilities. We know that we can use solar, ocean wave, for example, for some offshore desalination plants. We can use geothermal energy, we can use wind, but the most popular, the most successful effective up to now, in particular for plants, small plants, for example, from 1 cubic meter per to 12,000 or 20,000 cubic meters per day. The biggest plant right now using solar energy is Al Khafji plant in Saudi Arabia, producing 60,000 cubic meters per day, and is fully powered by CSP plants. In terms of, I show you this slide, for example, of and versus the greenhouse gas impact. So the solar or solar panels and the wind RO are the most successful in this area. So BC solar desalination has many advantages. It's the most successful because we are reducing the carbon footprint. It has, low cost in terms of maintenance. And solar PVs are the costs are reduced considerably because of the Chinese PVs. We are really becoming competitive, and the only challenge now is how we can power biggest plants, because it's big to cover this. So we need to find solutions for this. There are many plants in the region. I give some example from Tunisia, and the cost is becoming competitive. And the conclusion, desalination on a larger scale has environmental energy implications like brine, greenhouse gas emission, energy security, but should be sustainable. How we can do it? By more and more renewable energy, to our desalination plants by more use of renewable in desalination plant. The advantage of PV become decisive, especially in standalone configuration in villages. It's really a fantastic solution for some isolated areas. Even wherever it's cost effective now at small scale, hopefully in big scale, the technology will improve, will be easily upscaled. Regulations also need to be improved to make renewable desalination more and more present in the market. What energy food nexus need to be considered? There are lots of greenhouse projects where you use desalinated water to provide water to your crops and produce crops for your farmers. We have also financial problem in general. Governments and municipalities don't have enough budget to fund desalination projects. So we need PPP. What does it mean? Public-private partnership. So we need to involve private sector in a win-win situation, sharing the risk. It can help us building the desalination solution for some cities, for some villages. And we need to localize technology. I mentioned to your colleague earlier this morning, localization is important. I know in Iran, they are doing a very nice effort because of the embargo. Unfortunately, they started to innovate and develop solutions are made in Iran. This is very good because whenever we have COVID, like the first months of the COVID, when China closed the borders, or we have political problem, when we cannot import components of your desalination plant, then we have water security issue. If you could manage to fabricate the components of your desalination plant inside, so that will be a good step forward to achieve water security. And then desalination for me is climate change adaptation option in many countries, including Iran. So I'm really sorry for getting that faster because I had a meeting at 10 o'clock. They need to be with me in the office now. I put in my last slide my email. I put also one study I developed months ago for Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, which is German foundation, where you can find a lot of useful information about desalination. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm really sorry for the technical problem and for having to go. Probably, maybe I will take one question only because I need really to people are waiting for me outside. So I can take one question. And please, for the rest of question, send it to me by email. I promise. Do you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Jauad Kharraz. It was a really nice presentation. Just because you have another meeting, I'm going to ask one question, which is, I think, really important for many countries, is that and you also raised this issue in your conclusions, it's about the regulation. I mean, what are being done now about the regulations inside the countries and also at the common waters? So, I mean, internationally. These are the two things which I think are really important for different countries. Could you hear my question?
If I got you well, about legislation.
Yeah, I mean, what is happening about the regulation now inside the countries? I mean, their internal waters and the lands and the common waters between different countries. Are there any organizations or institutions at the international level being developed to regulate and monitor these developments or not?
Okay, so there are two things. When we talk about legislation, which is related, for example, to disposal of, we have different standards in the countries worldwide, and depending on the countries, depending on how the industry is developed, we have stricter or less strict legislation. I know in Europe, for example, we have very strict legislation. Don't dispose your brine just like that. You need to eventually do a pre-treatment before disposing the brine into the sea to cause the less. When it comes to some countries, because of the need need of water, the need of desalination, we are less strict. But I think definitely the legislation should be more strict and to push the companies to care more about the environment, about the marine ecosystem, and pre-treat the brine before disposing it. When we talk about disposing the brine and any other kind of polluted water into the sea, for example, in the Gulf, it's a problem because the Gulf, it's a closed sea, and we have more industries around the coast of the Gulf. So we need cooperation on that. I know there is an organization called RCREEE based in Kuwait. Iran is member, and many other Gulf countries are member of this organization. The technology, they are using a good scientific cooperation in order to the countries to control or monitor that pollution. So there are some organizations like RCREEE in Kuwait. They scientific cooperation to reduce the pollution that you can cause your polluted water into your sea, but because of the wind, because of closer to other countries, you will also go to the ground. So definitely we need cooperation in this area.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you very much.
It was real nice to having you with us, and I wish you a very great future as you have been also right now, and also I would like to just to say goodbye to you and also the other participants of this evening, and hope to see you again. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My presentation so I can get question from much. Have a good day. Assalamu alaikum.
Do you hear me? Okay. I think the session could be considered to be concluded, and we lost their connections, but fortunately at the end it was lost. Thank you to all the audiences, and again I apologize for the delayed and technical issues, and say goodbye.